identity register. Now that is a registration not of your SIM but of your phones. And so we're also going to be sending you prompts to do the registration of your phone. Call a spade today. And we've had instances of this when the state, through its security agencies, needs to identify a person of interest using their SIM card. It's next to impossible. Because the SIM registration or re-registration that Ghanaians were put through about 3 years ago or 2 years ago did no verification on the back end. There was no single source of truth to verify against. And so yes, biometrics were taken, but they were not matched against anything. And that's why today you have SIM cards that are registered to people's Ghana cards that the people themselves did not register. That's why today, even though there was a limit of 10 cards per Ghana card, there are instances where one Ghana card has been used to register over 30 cards because there was no matching. Many people have, and there was an instance, law enforcement instance that I encountered in my very first week. We're working with the then Cybersecurity Director General. We identified a number, saw the Ghana, did a cross-referencing with the number, the Ghana card that was used to register the card, geolocated the person. Security did an operation, but it became immediately clear that the individual whose Ghana card, who we had picked up on the back of his Ghana card, was not the same person as the person who was using the same card. And that's simply because you have unscrupulous people who registered pre-registered SIM cards using people's Ghana cards. You go and you try to register and then they tell you, oh, the network is down, it didn't go through, but they had registered a SIM card. And then they take your card again and do another registration. And then they begin to sell those pre-registered SIM cards. And so you will be an innocent person sitting down, and because your Ghana card had been used to pre-register a SIM card that was used in fraud, you'll be picked up. So people may think that, oh, but we went through the hassle. Yes, and I appreciate it. I was Christian Stubborn Academy because I opposed the registration process, because we questioned the technical basis of doing what was being done. And that's why I make a solemn pledge to you that you will not have to queue. You will not have to go and leave work for a day or two to get your SIM registered. There's a whole simple technical process behind it. It will be interactive. It will engage you. The regulator has seen the demo of it and how it works. We're very clear in our minds what we're going to do. Because if you've submitted your biometrics to the NIA, and the NIA has captured your biometrics, it's a simple opportunity for us to match what MTN or Telecel or AT holds against a certain number and cross-reference and send you a prompt to confirm if that number was really registered by you. So if someone has registered with your SIM, your Ghana card without your knowledge, and that number is brought to your attention, and you indicate that that is not your number, we blacklist it. If it is your number and the biometrics match, we whitelist your number and you get a prompt letting you know that your identity has been verified. But we'll go a step further to now do what we call the Central Equipment Identity Register. Now that is a registration not of your SIM, but of your phones. Every phone has an IMEI number, which is global and is a unique identifier, it's a fingerprint of your phone. And so we're also going to be sending you prompts to do the registration of your phone. Now, there are two reasons why we do this. One is because of national security, to be able to identify the phone and match a phone to a SIM card and know who it is. That's using what SIM card in what phone. But secondly, it's also because statistics are showing that almost 60% of phones in the country are smuggled. And no taxes have been paid on them. And so when this register is done, it's easy for you to determine whether the phone that's been sold to you came in legitimately and whether the tax has been paid on it. If the tax has not been paid on it, you can demand of the vendor to pay the tax, because the time will come where if the tax has not been paid, the use of the phone will be impossible. And so there are compliance measures. But you see, the good thing about that is it also helps us to create an opportunity to improve financial inclusion. Because now the access to credit using fintech becomes secured, because fintech operators who are giving loans on phone, who don't get to see you, know that in the case of a default, it's possible to reset your use of your phone. I was careful to see when I said it is possible to quickly add a reset. So we will do that, and the shortfalls. Yeah, and stolen phones, for example. If your phone were to be stolen and you were to report, we'll be able to identify if your phone and your number match your Ghana card, which we use to verify and register you, and immediately triangulate and geolocate the phone and disable that phone. So then the ecosystem for stolen phones is gone. Because if you steal somebody's phone and a report is made, you can't sell the phone because nobody can use the phone. It's blocked and locked. And we're not just doing this here. Once we're done here, we're going to marry our central equipment identity register with our neighbors in the sub-region. So you can't even steal from here and take it to Nigeria. Or you can't steal from Togo and bring to Ghana. Because once it is flagged in any country in the sub-region, we will block it completely. So we are putting a few people out of business. But I think that's a good thing. Isaac from Ghana Online asked about fake news and what will be done. I'm clear in my mind, and the Acting Director General and deputies from cybersecurity are present here. I have mandated that a team dedicated to building digital dossiers has been working for the past 2 weeks. And so for those who've been engaged in mis and disinformation, know that criminal offense has no limitation of time. We will be going to Parliament as soon as Parliament resumes in May. It's going to be one of the first things I'll lay before Parliament, specialized legislation on fake news. Today, you can choose to extend the reach of the Cybersecurity Act to try and do some prosecution, but it's a very long stretch. And so we're coming in with specialized legislation that will be very respectful of the freedoms of speech. Very respectful of the freedoms of speech. But where the lines are crossed on intentional misinformation or palpable disinformation, the law will be spelled out from Parliament on what the punishment will be. We cannot be in the jungle on the internet. And the law would work in tandem with platform operators to ensure that as quickly as possible, we deal decisively with those. So once again, I repeat, the era of fake news is coming to an end. We don't want to act arbitrarily, and that's why we want to lay the law before Parliament and be backed by law. And so we will work together to work on it, but be minded, we're already building the digital dossiers. And so once the law is passed, we'll swing into action immediately to deal with it. Erica from MTN, and I mean, it's a novelty that we had a player here ask questions. Any other thing policy-wise? Yes, there's a lot policy-wise. But like I said, I'm reporting for Q1 the things we've done. There's a lot of things that are in the pipeline or being worked on. For example, our smart data policy, the data exchange hub, a number of things we're working on. Support for farmers using tech, healthcare using tech. There's a lot we're working on, but because we have not finalized it in Q1, I'm sure that by the time I'm doing my Q2 reports, maybe in the first week of July or end of June, I'll be telling you a few more other things. I didn't want to come and stand here and say, we will. So if you listen to me, everything I've spoken about is what we have done in Q1. And so there's a lot more from the ministry coming your way. Fiber cuts, absolutely critical. And we've been working with the chamber on telecoms on that. Engineer Ken Ashibe sent me pictures from my constituency last week, where there was a major fiber cut in the Dawa enclave. And then just 3 days ago, Ghana Water cut fiber around somewhere, a very high profile residential area in Accra. And it's one of the problems we're dealing with. But I'm looking forward to working with the Minister of Water Resources, Works and Housing, and the Minister for Roads and Highways to have clear understanding that you cannot say you are going to construct a road. You cannot be Ghana Water and just go and cut into the road and then cut fiber. It's impossible. And again, working with the Chamber of Telecoms, there's work on specialized legislation on fiber cuts. Because the question now becomes, when the fiber is cut, they just cut it and they leave. And it comes back as cost to the telecom operators. And because the telecom operators are not descendants of Mother Teresa, they pass on that cost to the same Ghanaians. And we complain about the cost of data. Because data can only come through fiber. And so when the fiber is cut, it affects our pricing, because in their model, they are always putting in a certain variable for fiber cuts, and we need to deal with it so that when roads are going to be constructed, they will get in touch with the regulator and the ministry to identify where fiber is laid, and then we can do the relocation of the fiber properly. I think that one of the things we'll do is to deepen the designations of critical national information infrastructure and make it a criminal offense, irrespective of whether you are a road contractor or whether you are Ghana Water. If you cut fiber, you'll be criminally liable for cutting it. Because if you remember 3 years ago, when we had a triple fiber cut in the country on the same day, 70% of our country could not make phone calls. Imagine what that means for a country like this. Or when we had the subsea cable cut, what that did to us. And so fiber is now our lifeline, and so we need to protect it well. Thank you.